You know what's interesting about comfort? It feels so good, yet it can destroy so much. Most people don't lose their dreams because someone stole them. They lose them because they got too comfortable where they were. Comfort is like a warm blanket on a cold night. It feels wonderful until you realize it's noon the next day and you've missed all your opportunities. I want to talk to you today about something that might make you a little uncomfortable. And that's exactly the point. Because the moment you start feeling too comfortable is the moment your dreams start to die. Your ambition begins to fade. Your potential starts to shrink. Now, I'm not against comfort itself. Who doesn't like a nice chair, a good meal, or a moment of peace? The problem isn't comfort. It's when comfort becomes the goal instead of the reward. It's when we start arranging our lives to stay comfortable rather than to grow. I learned this lesson years ago when I was just starting out. I had a steady job. It wasn't much, but it paid the bills. I had a routine. I knew exactly what each day would bring. No surprises, no challenges, no growth, but also no excitement, no sense of achievement, no forward movement. I was comfortable, but I was stuck. And being stuck is one of the worst feelings in the world, even if your cage has cushions. What changed for me wasn't finding some magic formula. It was simply realizing that my comfort was costing me my future. Every day I chose the easy path was a day I didn't build towards something greater. That realization hit me hard. It might hit you hard too if you're honest with yourself. Let me share something with you. The most successful people I've ever met aren't the ones who avoided discomfort. They're the ones who learned to use discomfort as fuel. They're the ones who understood that temporary pain leads to lasting gain. They're the ones who realize that the path to extraordinary often goes through uncomfortable territory. You see, comfort and growth rarely live on the same street. Most people want the rewards of success without the struggles that create it. They want the gold medal without the grueling training. They want the business success without the sleepless nights. They want the respect without taking the risks that earn it. But life doesn't work that way. I've studied successful people for decades now, and I've noticed something fascinating. The truly successful don't just tolerate discomfort. They actively seek it out. They look for the challenges others avoid. They volunteer for the projects no one else wants. They start conversations others are afraid to have. They see discomfort not as something to escape, but as a signal they're heading in the right direction. Think about it. When you were learning to walk as a child, you fell hundreds of times. It was uncomfortable. It was frustrating. Sometimes it even hurt. But you never thought, well, crawling is comfortable enough. I think I'll just do that forever. No, you knew instinctively that the discomfort of learning to walk was worth it for the freedom it would bring. I know a young man who started a business from his garage. For 3 years, he worked 18-hour days. He missed parties. He missed sleep. He missed the comfort of a regular paycheck. His friends thought he was crazy. Why put yourself through all that? They asked. Just get a normal job like everyone else. But he had a vision that was bigger than comfort. Today, his company employs over 200 people. Was it comfortable? No. Was it worth it? Ask him. And he'll tell you he'd do it all again in a heartbeat. The truth is, most people never achieve their dreams, not because they aren't capable, but because they aren't willing to be uncomfortable long enough to make them happen. They start out with good intentions, but as soon as the path gets rocky, they retreat to safety. They choose the comfort of the known over the possibility of the extraordinary. There are 3 stages to what I call comfort addiction. And I don't want you to see if you recognize any of these in your life. The first stage is what I call the good enough trap. This is when you settle for less than you're capable of because what you have is good enough. Your job is good enough. Your relationships are good enough. But good enough is the enemy of greatness. Good enough keeps you from reaching for more. Good enough keeps you small when you were made to be magnificent. I remember talking to a man who had been in the same position at his company for 15 years. I asked him why he never tried for a promotion. "I'm comfortable where I am," he said. "I know the job. The pay is decent." Why, 5 years later, his department was eliminated, and he found himself struggling to find work because he hadn't grown his skills in 2 decades. His comfort had cost him his security. The second stage of comfort addiction is fear justification. This is when you become so attached to your comfort that you start creating reasons why change would be bad. The timing isn't right. The economy is uncertain. I'm too old to start something new. I'm too young to take on that responsibility. Fear disguises itself as wisdom, telling you that staying put is the smart choice. I've seen talented artists never share their work because they're afraid of criticism. I've seen brilliant minds stay in dead-end jobs because they're afraid of failure. I've seen kind hearts stay in unhappy relationships. Fear will always give you reasons to stay comfortable. Ambition asks you to see past those reasons to the possibilities on the other side. The third and most dangerous stage is ambition, amnesia. This is when you've been comfortable for so long that you actually forget what you wanted in the first place. You forget the dreams you once had. You forget the person you wanted to become. You look around at your comfortable life and think, this must be what I wanted because it's what I have. But deep down, there's an emptiness that comfort can never fill. I talked to a woman in her 50s who told me she always wanted to start her own business. But now it's too late, she said. When I asked her why, she said, "I'm used to my routine now. I wouldn't want to disrupt it." Her comfort had caused her to forget that the disruption was the whole point. The adventure of creating something new, the thrill of building something of her own. Let me tell you something important. Your comfort zone isn't really a safe place. It just feels safe. In reality, it's where dreams go to die. It's where potential goes to waste. It's where regret is born. The price we pay for choosing comfort over growth is far higher than most people realize. It's not just about missing opportunities or not reaching our potential. It's about what happens to us internally when we choose the easy path day after day, year after year. First, there's the slow erosion of self-respect. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you're sending yourself a message. I don't believe I can handle difficulty. Over time, that message sinks in. You start to see yourself as someone who needs things to be easy. Your self-image shrinks to fit your comfort-seeking behavior. Second, there's the pain of watching others succeed where you could have. I've known people who had great ideas but never acted on them, only to see someone else bring that same idea to life and prosper from it. The pain of that could have been me is far worse than the discomfort of trying and failing. Third, there's the slow death of joy. Real joy doesn't come from comfort. It comes from growth, from overcoming challenges, from becoming more than you were yesterday. When you choose comfort over growth, you might avoid pain, but you also rob yourself of the deep satisfaction that comes from achievement. I knew a talented musician who stopped performing because of stage fright. He told himself he was happier playing at home, where it was comfortable. But every time he heard great music, there was pain in his eyes. He wasn't protecting himself from discomfort. He was denying himself joy. How do you know if comfort is killing your ambition? Let me give you 5 warning signs to watch for. The first sign is that you've stopped learning new things. When was the last time you read a challenging book? When was the last time you took a course to learn a new skill? When was the last time you put yourself in a situation where you were a beginner? If you can't remember, comfort might be strangling your growth. Learning is uncomfortable. It requires admitting you don't know something. It requires making mistakes. It requires feeling awkward as you develop new abilities. But without that discomfort, your mind starts to calcify. Your perspectives narrow. Your abilities stagnate. The second sign is that you avoid feedback. Feedback is uncomfortable because it forces us to confront our imperfections. But without feedback, we can't improve. If you find yourself defensive when someone offers a suggestion, or if you only share your work with people who are sure to praise it, you might be choosing the comfort of ignorance over the discomfort of growth. I know writers who never publish because they can't bear the thought of criticism. I know business owners who never ask customers how they could improve their service. I know managers who never have honest conversations with their teams. They're all choosing comfort over excellence. The third sign is that your goals have stopped growing. Look at the goals you had 5 years ago and the goals you have today. Are they bigger, more ambitious, or have they stayed the same or even shrunk? When comfort becomes our priority, we start setting goals we know we can achieve without much struggle. We call it being realistic, but often it's just being afraid. The fourth sign is that you're surrounded by people who never challenge you. Look at your 5 closest friends or colleagues. Do they push you to be better? Do they have ambitions of their own? Or do they reassure you that everything is fine just the way it is? Comfort seeking becomes contagious when we surround ourselves with others who prioritize it. I know a business owner who only hires people who agree with him. His company hasn't had a new idea in years, but everyone there is very comfortable. Meanwhile, his competitors who embrace the discomfort of diverse perspectives are innovating and growing. The fifth sign is that you've started making excuses for why things haven't worked out. The market wasn't ready. I didn't have the right connections. No one understands what I'm trying to do. When we choose comfort over challenge, we need to justify that choice to ourselves and others. So we develop elaborate explanations for why success wasn't possible, rather than admitting we weren't willing to be uncomfortable enough to achieve it. Now I want to talk about the relationship between discomfort and achievement, because once you understand this, it can change how you approach everything. Most people have it backward. They think, once I achieve my goals, then I'll be comfortable. But the truth is almost the opposite. Once I'm willing to be uncomfortable, then I can achieve my goals. Every significant achievement requires you to get comfortable with discomfort. Want to build a successful business? Get comfortable with uncertainty, rejection, and financial stress. Want to be physically fit? Get comfortable with sweat, soreness, and pushing your limits. Want to master a skill? Get comfortable with being bad at it for a while, with practice that stretches your abilities, with feedback that points out your flaws. I remember when I was first learning to speak publicly, I was terrible. My hands shook, my voice cracked, I forgot my points. It was uncomfortable in every way. But I kept going back for more of that discomfort because I knew that on the other side of it was the ability to communicate ideas that could change lives. Now, standing on stage feels as natural as sitting in my living room, but I had to go through the discomfort to get to that point. The most successful people aren't those who don't feel discomfort. They're the ones who have learned to move forward despite it, or even because of it. They've developed what psychologists call discomfort tolerance. They can stay in uncomfortable situations long enough to get the growth and achievement that comes. So how do you develop this ability? How do you build an ambitious life that doesn't get derailed by the pull of comfort, that comes down to small daily disciplines that gradually reshape your relationship with discomfort? Here's what I've found works. Start with tiny challenges that push you just outside your comfort zone. If you're afraid of public speaking, don't start by giving a TED Talk. Start by speaking up in a meeting. If you wanted to, write a book. Don't quit your job and move to a cabin in the woods. Start by writing 1 page a day. The key is consistency. Doing something uncomfortable once is an event. Doing it daily is a transformation. I call these disciplines of discomfort, and they're the building blocks of an ambitious life. For example, try cold calling 1 potential client every day, or having 1 difficult conversation each week, or writing 5 ideas for your business every morning, or exercising to the point of real effort, not just going through the motions daily. None of these actions will change your life overnight, but done consistently, they'll change how you respond to discomfort. They'll build your ambition muscles. I know a woman who was terrified of rejection. She wanted to be a salesperson, but couldn't bear the thought of hearing no. So she started what she called rejection therapy. Every day, she would make at least one request that would likely be rejected, asking for a discount at a store, inviting a busy executive to coffee, submitting a proposal to a client who seemed out of reach. At first, each rejection stung, but over time, she realized rejection wouldn't kill her. It wouldn't even hurt her unless she let it. Today, she's one of the top salespeople in her industry, not because she never gets rejected, but because she doesn't let rejection stop. Another daily discipline is to constantly upgrade your environments. Your physical environment, your social environment, your information environment. All of these shape your ambitions in ways you might not realize. If you want to build $1 million business, spend time in places where $1 million deals happen. If you want to be a published author, join groups where people talk about writing and publishing. If you want to be physically fit, redesign your home so healthy choices are the easy. Your environment is constantly whispering to you about what's possible, what's appropriate, what's expected. Make sure it's whispering ambition. You become who you spend time with. You rise or fall to the level of your associations. Look around at the 5 people you spend the most time with, their income, their health, their attitudes, their ambitions. Like it or not, that's the direction you're headed. If you're the most ambitious person in your circle, it might be time to expand your circle. I'm not saying abandon your friends. I'm saying add new ones who pull you forward. Find mentors, even if they're just in books. Join mastermind groups. Attend events where ambitious people gather. These environments will transform you without you even trying. And it's not just people. Pay attention to the information you consume daily. Is your mind being fed a steady diet of gossip, complaints, and mindless entertainment? Or are you filling it with ideas, strategies, and inspiration? What goes in must come out. Feed your mind with ambition, and ambition will grow. I remember visiting the home of a very successful entrepreneur. What struck me wasn't the size of his house, though it was impressive. It was his library. Thousands of books on business, psychology, history, science. His environment was constantly feeding his mind, challenging his assumptions, expanding his thinking. His success wasn't an accident. On the other hand, I've been in homes where the environment screams settle for less. The TV is always on. Junk food is within arm's reach. Nothing in the space suggests growth or ambition or excellence. Is it any one the people living there struggle to break out comforts? Now, let's talk about an area where comfort is particularly dangerous. Financial comfort might be the most seductive comfort of all. It's easy to reach a point where your basic needs are met and then stop pushing for more. Why take risks when I have enough to get by? Becomes the thought that kills financial growth. But there's a profound difference between financial comfort and financial freedom. Financial comfort means your bills are paid. Financial freedom means you can make choices based on what brings you joy and meaning, not just what pays the bills. I've met too many people in their 50s and 60s who settled for financial comfort in their 30s, only to find themselves working jobs they hate well past when they wanted to retire. They can't stop because they never built wealth beyond their immediate needs. Building real wealth usually requires financial discomfort. Investing instead of spending, taking calculated risks, starting businesses that might fail, continuing to work when you already have enough. But that temporary discomfort leads to options and opportunities that financial comfort never will. I remember meeting a young couple who lived well below their means for 10 years. While their friends were buying bigger houses and newer cars, they were investing in rental properties and their own business. It wasn't easy. They drove old cars. They lived in a modest home. They didn't take lavish vacations. Their families thought they were being too frugal. But today, in their early 40s, they're financially independent. They work because they want to, not because they have to. Their temporary financial discomfort created permanent financial freedom. What about you? Are you settling for financial comfort when you could be building financial freedom? Are you choosing the immediate ease of spending over the lasting power of investing? Now, I want to talk about something that stops many people from pursuing their ambitions: disappointment. Disappointment is uncomfortable. When we try something and it doesn't work out, it hurts. And to avoid that hurt, many people stop trying. But here's what I've learned. Disappointment isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's a sign that you cared about something enough to be hurt when it didn't work out. That caring is the seed of ambition. The key is to turn disappointment into motivation rather than letting it push you toward comfort. When something doesn't work out, don't ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this to fuel my next attempt?" I know a man who failed in his first 3 businesses. Each failure was painful. Each one cost him money, time, and pride. But instead of retreating to the comfort of a steady job, he studied his failures. He figured out what went wrong. He built new skills to address his weaknesses. His 4th business succeeded beyond his wildest dreams, not in spite of his previous failures, but because of them. What disappointments have you experienced? Are you letting them push you toward comfort, or are you using them as fuel for your ambitions? One of the most powerful things you can develop is your own personal success philosophy. A set of principles that guide your decisions when comfort tries to tempt you off your path. Let me share a few principles that have guided me. First, I believe that growth should be our default setting. If I'm not growing, I'm dying. There's no comfortable middle ground where I can just coast and stay the same. Second, I believe that my future is worth temporary discomfort. When I have to choose between what's easy now and what will benefit me later, I try to choose the future benefit. Third, I believe that standards are more powerful than willpower. If I raise my standards for what I expect from myself, I don't have to force myself to take action. I just wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't. Fourth, I believe that we become what we consistently do. Success isn't an event. It's a habit. So I focus less on dramatic changes and more on daily disciplines. Fifth, I believe that service to others gives meaning to success. Ambition isn't just about what I can get. It's about what I can give. When comfort tempts me to hold back, I remember the people whose lives I can impact if I push through. These principles aren't just nice ideas. They're decision-making tools. When I'm faced with a choice between comfort and growth, I can check which option aligns with my philosophy. What's your success philosophy? What principles guide your choices when comfort tries to pull you off course? Here's something else to consider. Your ambition doesn't just affect you. It creates a ripple effect that touches everyone around you. When you choose growth over comfort, you show others that it's possible. You become living proof that the discomfort of pursuing dreams is worth it. You give others permission to step out of their comfort zones too. I've seen this happen countless times. One person in a family starts a business, and suddenly entrepreneurship seems possible to their siblings. One person in an office starts pursuing education in their spare time, and soon others are signing up for classes too. One person in a friend group starts prioritizing health, and before long, the whole group is meeting for morning workouts. Your ambition is contagious, but so is your comfort seeking. When you choose the easy path, you silently encourage others to do the same. You reinforce the idea that comfort is the highest goal. What message are you sending to the people in your life? Are you showing them that dreams are worth pursuing, even when the pursuit is uncomfortable? Or are you teaching them to settle for less than they're capable of? I know parents who work extra jobs to start businesses because they want their children to see that it's possible to create your own path. I know employees who take on challenging projects that no one else wants because they hope to inspire their colleagues to stretch themselves too. I know friends who hold each other accountable to keep pushing forward when comfort tries to lure. Your ambition matters, not just for what it helps you achieve, but for how it inspires others. So where do you go from here? How do you ensure that comfort doesn't kill your ambition? It starts with a decision, not a wish, not a hope, but a decision that you will not let temporary discomfort stop you from achieving what matters to you, that you will not trade your dreams for an easy path, that you will build the mental toughness to push through the difficult middle part of any worthwhile pursuit. Then it continues with action, not just once, but daily, small disciplines that gradually reshape your relationship with discomfort, choices that prioritize growth over ease, environments that support your ambitions rather than undermining them. And it lasts through persistence, not giving up when things get hard, but using the hard times to fuel your resolve, not retreating to comfort when disappointment comes, but learning from disappointment to make your next attempt stronger. The world doesn't need more people who are comfortable. It needs more people who are committed to their dreams, to making a difference, to becoming all they're capable of being. Don't let comfort kill your ambition, because your ambition isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the pursuit. And who you become is too important to sacrifice for a little temporary comfort. The path of ambition isn't always comfortable, but it's where you'll find your greatest achievements, your deepest fulfillment, and your truest self. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Choose growth. Choose ambition. The world is waiting for what only you can bring.